Generally speaking, we like it best when an image is as coherent as possible for us. Ideally, there is enough light for us to see what we are looking at. There is enough context for us to understand what we are looking at, and there's nothing interfering with our view of what we are looking at. Ideally, we can see enough of what we are looking at to make sense of it. In truth, there isn't a single human being in the history of humanity that has managed to see anything with true precision. We see shifting patterns of contrasting tones, and then we make our best guess about what it is that we're looking at. When a physicist looks to determine what it is they are looking at, they look closer and closer and closer. They look to see what are the colours that are making up the colours we see. And then they look to see which colours are making up those colours. And it does not matter which are the smallest colours they see. They only want to see which colours are making them. This is all a physicist can think of to do. When somebody who is of an occult tradition, such as a religion, looks to determine what it is they are looking at, they look to see how close that thing is to their God. But they know that they cannot know their God, so all that is left for them is to look to see how close to their religion the thing or person is. The closer that thing is to their religion, as far as they can tell, the better. The further from their religion it is, the worse. This is all an occultist can think to do. The physicist only sees large instances of physicality made up of small instances of physicality. The occultist only sees things that are closer to their religion and further from their religion. But the physicist does not know how any instance of physicality came about, and the occultist does not know how their God came about. Both see only shifting patterns of contrasting tones and then make their best guesses. Both God and quantum mechanics remain ineffable. The foundation of reality for an occultist and for a physicist is ineffable. And this cannot be coherent, because the whole point of a foundation is that it be the simplest, most sure, most solid part of the structure. If one's foundation is ineffable, then one does not know anything about anything, and must forever be making their best guess. Our authorities of science and religion are those who claim to be best qualified to make our guesses for us, in the face of their ineffable and unfathomable foundations. And to be one who has a role as an authority on an ineffable foundation is to be one who does not at all wish for a solid and true foundation that can make sense to everybody. Human culture is built on an ineffable foundation, and human culture will argue that this is a good thing, so that its own furtherance may be secured. Its churches may continue, and its scientific research may be funded. The problem with an ineffable foundation is that it is inherently insecure. The awful irony for humanity is that in having a culture that is insecure, that culture desperately seeks the furtherance of itself. So we effectively have an insecure culture that seeks the furtherance of insecurity, the furtherance of its own insecurity. Human culture literally seeks to secure its own insecurity. Human culture literally seeks to secure its own insecurity. It has been the strangest thing for me to go through the past 4 years of my life. I made my first video on foundational truth 4 years ago, and it has taken these 4 years for me to begin to understand why the world around me has reacted so strongly and so negatively to my doing this. From my point of view, I was doing something simple and honest and helpful. It began with me noticing some foundational errors in our model of mathematics. And if you can put yourself in my shoes for a moment, well, maybe you won't react so strongly and negatively to me. Can you imagine this scenario happening to you? One day, you notice a single simple mistake in our mathematics, and it takes you by surprise. It takes you by surprise because it is so simple. You don't think of yourself as an especially intelligent person, and you've never shown yourself as having any particular skill or interest in mathematics. But this mistake that you notice is so simple and obvious that even you can notice it. Now, what you're imagining is going to happen when you make a few videos about it is that a few people will watch them and they will say, "Wow, look at that." And sooner or later, what you have noticed will come to the attention of actual mathematicians, and discussions will take place. You're not expecting anybody to have a problem with you about it, because it's really a very simple thing that anybody could see. So this is what you're imagining is going to happen. You go ahead and you make your videos, and not only do you become the most suppressed person in the world, but you become alienated from all the people in your life. You are literally just trying to be helpful and point something out to the world. And the whole world just suddenly clams up around you as though you are some kind of problem. Can you imagine something like that happening to you? Can you imagine doing something simple and helpful that causes the whole world to shun you? Can you imagine pointing out a simple mistake that nobody wants to have pointed out? This is what happened to me. I am literally the most suppressed man in the world now, because I'm pointing at a mistake that is not ever going to stop being a mistake. And human culture is acting as though if I would just disappear, then maybe this mistake that is never going to stop being a mistake can just be forgotten about. And everybody's insecurity can continue to be secured. Everybody's insecurity can be guaranteed. It's such a weird thing for me. Can you imagine yourself being in that position? I suspect you can. I suspect you can all too well. 4 years ago, I saw myself as being a well-liked member of my local community and a well enough liked member of an online community. Today, I am as alone as you could imagine. I simply can't play in human culture any longer. I'm flat broke and unable to pay the rent. Communication between me and my viewers is stifled, and they are not notified when I post videos. I made a screen recording that shows how one of my own YouTube accounts is not even notified when I post a video on one of my other channels. Here I am on the page of my Candigram channel, but logged in with a different account. You can see here that I am subscribed to Candigram with this account, and you can see that I have just posted a video on Candigram, one of my songs called Cyclops. But when I go to my subscriptions page, which is meant to show all videos posted by the channels I'm subscribed to, no sign of Cyclops. I know full well that I have subscribers who genuinely appreciate the videos I make. But if they are not having my videos appear in their feed, then they have no reason to believe I'm posting anything. I have shown in a number of my other videos screen recordings that show how communication between me and my viewers is often blocked. If you yourself try to communicate with me online, the chances are that you won't receive a reply from me. And it won't be because I'm just ignoring you. It will be because I either haven't been allowed to see your message, or you haven't been allowed to see my response. Please, whether you are a newcomer to my work or a subscriber of old, please know that I'm never ignoring you. If you do want to keep up with me and what I do here, you need to be determined and proactive and actually check in on my channels and website on a regular basis rather than relying on my videos appearing in your feed and notifications. And it would mean a lot to me if you would watch any of my previous videos that you haven't seen yet, both here on this platform and on my website. There's so much material that is just sitting there and gathering dust. Please be determined and proactive. And in terms of promoting me to others, your word of mouth is far more important and potentially effective than any electronic means. Though you should be prepared to receive negative responses and try not to take it personally. Human culture looks to secure its own insecurity because it feels insecure. The foundational truth I have identified for us: it feels too humble for the God believer, and it feels too exotic for the physicist. So it feels too much or not enough, depending on who you are. But it is simple, solid, and true. It is not to be feared. It only brings security to the insecure. I wanna say there's another way, there's another day after week we were never told about. It isn't Monday, it isn't Tuesday, it isn't Wednesday, but somewhere near around about. If you found it, you'd tell me, wouldn't you? I like the sound of kicking off our shoes. If you knew I was passing through, what is it you do? Would you smile? Would you make some time for me? I'm not a boy who means to annoy. I ain't got no ploy, I'm just a boat that got washed right out to sea. If you found me, what is it you would do? Would you drown me or let me rescue you? saw there was something more to what you ignore? Would you know how to set aside your fears? I know it's been hard, and you have seen what it really means to be lost in the wilderness for years. If you found us, would you know what to do? What's all around us would give its thanks to you. Shall we drift apart till we're out of range? Where are the things we can rearrange? What's in our hearts that makes it so strange? I only know something's gotta change. I have been told that I'm growing old and that life is cold and there's nothing left in it for me. But there's a heat and my heart still beats like it is complete, like a thing that is always gonna be. If I found you washed up on my shore,